the ace you're looking for from the Seattle Mariners might not be the ace you thought it was, because he was the third Mariners pitcher drafted heading into 2024, but your starting pitcher number 10, Mr. Logan Gilbert.
I I can't believe I did this. I've been the guy that's been just annoyed by Logan Gilbert the most. I thought, okay, George Kirby has better command and Logan Gilbert just can't really figure it out and whatever. No, I'm going to go Luis Castillo ahead of this, Brian Wu, or maybe even Bryce Miller or something. And then I just sat there and went, the dude just had a 0.89 whip.
Mm-hmm.
And how did he do that? He had a 6.4 hit per nine. Wait, how is that possible? Oh my gosh, I didn't realize his slider was this good. It was a pitch that he started to go about 45% of the time later on in the year in multiple starts. And Logan Gilbert's slider had a 72% strike rate, so that's reliable, with a 21% swinging strike rate.
Yeah.
And he threw this so often, and it was just stupid hard to hit. Why is it so hard to hit? And by the way, 34% ICR, which is elite as well for a pitch thrown that often. Logan Gilbert has the best extension in the majors. Okay, 7.5 feet. I get excited at 7 feet, and then you add another half a foot is insane, which means that guys are getting prepared for this 96, 97 mile per hour fastball that is really looking like it's 100, and then this slider that comes in and just drops, and they can't do anything about it. So if he's throwing this so often, then this is why you just have hit suppression, and it allows him to actually keep the walk rate down to about 5%. The biggest thing that I've been weirded out by is everything else isn't quite elite yet. The four-seamer I would think would be, but it's just a 9% swing strike rate, just a CSW of 29%, which I would think would be higher considering he throws as hard as he does. He's added a splitter at times that shows up, or a curveball, or sometimes there's a cutter in there, and it's still a work in progress. And it's so weird to say that for a guy with a 3.23 ERA last year and a 0.89 whip, but Logan Gilbert hasn't really settled in quite yet. And that's the thing that I always encourage everybody to go for in your drafts. Go for the pitchers who have volume. 209 innings last year for Logan Gilbert. They have strikeout ability, 27% K rate in those innings, which meant it was over 200 strikeouts, and the ability to limit walks with a 5% walk rate. The fact that he has 6.4 hit per nine is going to get worse for him. But then if that's the baseline that he just had without being his best self, I'm not going to say that he's going to be better than that last season. I'm going to say that the regression that could happen could easily be mitigated by any gains that he has in his fastball or a secondary on top of the slider. Yeah. The fact remains the slider is here to stay. It is such a good pitch for him. It is his foundation, and it's why he had a 97th percentile swing strike rate this year at 16% overall. It's kind of bonkers. And Logan Gilbert is the workhorse among all of these, and I can't say no. So here he is, number 10.
We've been doing a lot of conversating about, pitch mixes in the lead up to my First Pitch Arizona presentation, which will be on that. But another thing to keep in mind, like Logan Gilbert added a cutter this year. We have talked about the way that pitches work well off of each other. Cutters and sliders can be really successfully used in tandem because the movement profiles can be similar enough that you can, if you start establishing a cutter, you can get more swings and misses or chases at sliders because a hitter is now thinking, oh, this could be the cutter. So I noticed, and again, we're not saying this is definitively the cause, but it is interesting to point out that against that, he used the cutter a lot against lefties this year as a right-handed pitcher. Last year, the slider against lefties had a 29% chase rate. This year, the slider against lefties had an almost 44% O swing, almost 44% chase rate. Last year, the swinging strike rate on the slider against lefties was 19%. This year, it was almost 25%. So getting more chases outside of the zone, getting more swings and misses on the slider could also be connected to having that cutter that makes them, look inside for that fastball variation. Then they get the slider, they're chasing it out of the zone. So that is another kind of like example of the evolution of Logan Gilbert. I have him at 12. I think we're both kind of in agreement that he is really good, and he is now my top Mariners starting pitcher as well.